Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another podcast episode, and I think this is podcast episode number 8. Let me double check for you, but I'm pretty sure that is the number where we are at today. And I know, I've been slacking on the podcast episodes. You don't have to tell me twice because I need to get my shit together. But you guys, I have been getting my shit together slowly but surely. And I think it's just the fact that I got it into my head where I'm like, okay, if you don't get shit up and you don't post content, you're not going to go anywhere with where you want to be. Now, it's not even about motivation. It's mainly about the drive and the determination of how things are going to keep going for you and the consistency of accomplishing your goals. So yes, I have just checked that we are actually on podcast episode 8. We're getting there, okay? We're getting to the double digits. But anywho, welcome back to another podcast episode called She Speaks Her Mind. And this is the first episode where I actually get to say that this is an official podcast because I have a podcast name. I have uploaded it on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Okay, guys, it's up on there now. I kept making excuses on each episode where I kept saying, it'll be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify soon. We're just gonna put it on YouTube for now. Bitch, honestly, I just didn't figure it out and I didn't know how to put it on Spotify. But that day where I decided, you know what, fuck it, we gotta figure this out because the people have been speaking. The people have been talking about where is it on Spotify. Like, I can't watch, but I'm willing to listen while I'm at work. So I've given you guys your holy grail and have put it out on all platforms. I'm pretty sure it's on all platforms because I was going through this RSS feed link thing. I don't know how this goes about, but honestly, I kind of just winged everything with putting this on Spotify. And then from there, it just attached every single platform to be able to post all these episodes. I'm pretty sure it's on all platforms because I have been able to play it on like Google Podcasts and these other platforms that I have no idea what they are, but I think they're on there. So the only ones I really wanted to put it on was Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm so glad they're on there now. And before I really start this episode, I just wanted to let you guys know that, oh my God, I have gotten so many heartwarming comments and seeing all these comments of you guys just been so excited for this moment of me actually having a podcast. It's fucking here, bitch. It's here. It's here to stay. Literally, I just made a whole list of what podcast names that truly resonated with me, and then I just pinpointed which one I wanted out of all of them, and then it came down to 2. I thought this one resonated with me the most because I'm able to speak upon any topics that I wanted and it's not focused down to a certain niche where I have to talk about something so specific. I just thought about it throughout the next few days and thinking about what podcast name I really wanted, and this is the one that I just stuck with. I'm pretty excited for it. Okay, so this is a new project of mine where I'm just putting podcast episodes out and doing this for fun, seeing where this goes, and just making it a part of my content creator journey. I know you guys want me to get into the episode, but you guys can skip through the parts where I'm talking about this stuff and giving you guys a life update because you probably don't fucking care. But for some people that just like want to talk and chill out and, you know, really be a part of this podcast, keep on listening. Yeah, it actually took me a whole freaking day to figure out how the fuck do I put this on Spotify? Okay, how do I put it on Spotify and what platforms am I going to put out with this podcast? If you guys are new here, hello, my name is Anna. I'm 25. I'm 25 now, bitch. I don't want to say I'm getting old because I know it's just a number. Age is just a number. But I'm feeling it in my bones and my body and feeling a little bit crippled. Like I can feel my hips tearing apart. I can feel my back cracking more in places in my body where I didn't think it would be able to crack, but it's cracking. I am a full-time content creator and I started doing this full-time, let's say for about a year and a half ago. So pretty proud of myself, even though I've been doing this for how fucking long? I've been doing this for like 5 years and finally, we have seen a big change. And I'm just thankful that I've gotten to this point where I'm able to fully allow myself to embrace in this content creator journey. And if you guys are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening, I just also want you guys to know that I do have a video platform. I've already said it, but I feel like you guys can connect with me more if you're watching me face to face. You can fucking see me, I can see you, and we're just here chatting. Because I'm in the car right now. Usually I film in the egg chair, but today we're switching it up. So if you guys don't know, the first option was me filming in the car because I thought that was a little unique, and it is because I've never really seen anyone do it except for this one chick, because that's where I got the idea from, and I forget her name. But I saw her just talking in her car, and it made me think, like, I could start a podcast in here too. And I'm not copying her in any way where I am taking all her ideas and what she's talking about. I'm just glad that I have an option where I can start a podcast and start talking in my car, or whether that be talking in my egg chair. Now let's get to the actual fucking point of this podcast, because I know you guys have been wanting to listen to another podcast episode, but I just wanted to give you guys an update. The real question is, why is no one talking about this? Maybe you guys have heard it here and there, but no one really values this conversation because time is going by way too fucking fast. We're all living in such a fast-paced environment, and sometimes we can't handle it, but there are ways where we can be able to cope a slow living life. This is why we need to figure out ways where we just need to slow it the fuck down, because before you know it, it's gonna be 10 years from now, and then you'll realize, holy shit, within a blink of an eye, we're getting older. So I know it's easier said than done with being able to say, just slow down and live in the moment. But when you really take a step back and tell yourself, slow down and be with yourself, like if I were to say this to myself, slow down and be with her, and I'm saying this as in slow down and be with myself, I don't need to be anywhere except here. Why do I have to feel rushed? Why do I have to feel stressed about the life that I'm living when all I should really be thinking about is what's going on right now? Like, girl, you have permission to take care of yourself. No one asked you that you have to be rushing and getting to a certain point in your life where you have to think that you're doing this for your parents or for someone that you're wanting to get validation from. There are so many different aspects with why you just rush with your life. I don't think we realize what we have to do in this world is that we just have to show up for ourselves. There's nothing else to it besides like having a supportive family, supportive partner, having those very important friendships. But all in all, it's just about showing up for yourself every single day. We all used to hear this concept of the hustle and grind, but not every day is going to be like that, and it's not sustainable. This is what I have learned within the past 3 or 4 years, I would say, because the first year that I've been learning about self-development, all these motivational speakers used to tell you, like, you can't perform if you're not hustling. Like, you know, it's not all about that anymore. As much as we want to work hard and get to where we want, we need to be able to fill our cup with self-care so that we can strive in each life aspect with relationships, taking care of others, having time for your family, and everything about this fast-paced life that we all have been living in. Unless you live off-grid, then that's fucking amazing, because I wish I could just flee this country, go somewhere else that's non-political, having a community that actually cares about you, and living a sustainable life. Give it to me. Like, give it all. Seriously, we actually need to slow down, because I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna have for breakfast tomorrow. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of going to Starbucks and getting some quiches, or actually making breakfast tomorrow at home and cooking myself a good meal. I don't know. So this is what I'm saying, is that we don't even know what tomorrow has in store for us. It's just easier to live day by day and being in the present moment by living a simple life. And I'm going to get into this podcast where I give you guys some tips and tricks on how to live a simple life. And I mean, while I say this to you guys, this is something that I want to be implementing more into my life, because I don't realize, like, the advice that I give to you, sometimes I don't even take it. And that's just me not taking care of myself, because I seem to also just want to take care of others before myself. But I've come a long way where I've actually make sure that I do have time for myself and then give that same love that I would for others. When you do feel rushed and you think that you don't have everything together when you're perfectly fine where you are at this moment, don't call yourself a failure, because maybe for some reason it's taking you longer for where you want to be. And the fact that we're so hard on ourselves for being where we want to be, your goals and your desires are worthwhile as everybody else's. So appreciate every little little single thing that comes your way, because before you know it, your time will come where it's everything you've ever wanted. So it's all these little steps that you take in life where you don't realize that it's part of your journey, it's part of your path, and it may not be in everybody else's path where they run in situations like that. But if there's situations that you may come across and you just run through these without expecting, sometimes you got to go through them to be able to learn from these experiences. And I think I have covered this topic about success on a different episode, but I wanted to kind of get into it again, where your success can mean so many different things, and your success might not be the same type of success in someone else's eyes. And all that really matters is where your happiness lies, and the success can conclude just being happy where you are. And success doesn't mean it's all about money, whether that being that money can make you happy. It's just instant gratification. So I have been reading this book called This Is How You Heal by Brianna Wiest. I really hope I'm not butchering the last name. I feel like I am. But there's a part in her book that said, "This is an ongoing exploration of who we are and how we might be. Life doesn't magically begin when everything is perfect. It doesn't start when you think you are enough. It's happening right now. You are not anywhere but where you're supposed to be. The idea that you might have to earn your way into the life that is already yours is an illusion." Whoever's watching, who's ever listening, why are you thinking of the things that you think you might need when you already have it right in front of you? Like, you already have the options. You're just choosing to make that an illusion for yourself. And this is something that I also want to get into, is everyone's life paces at a different speed. You might be married, you might be in your 30s still single, you might be in your 40s with no kids. You might be in your mid-20s not knowing what the fuck to do, still living at home with your parents, and realizing that you doing what you're doing right now is something that you don't want to do. But it's all just an exploration, just like what Brianna said. We're all different with a variety of needs and goals. So some get married early, some get married late, and others who don't get married at all. And let's ask the real question here. What is early and what is late? Because your life, my life, is not on anyone's schedule, and this is your timeline, and you're not off schedule. So keep doing what you have to fucking do. Don't give up. Realize that you're on the right path. If you feel like giving up, look where you are right now. How many times have you given up in your whole life and you're still here today? How many times have you told yourself that you're not worth it, or you think that you don't deserve anything, you don't deserve the whole world? Look where you are today. Maybe it may seem like you're on your last straw and you don't know what to fucking do, but something is telling you out there that maybe you came across this podcast episode and you have no idea who I am, and this is giving you a sign that meets all your needs, whether you need to get back up on your feet and start living the life you deserve, because this might just be your sign. And I know a lot of people maybe are not spiritual in a way, but there's so many things out there that could just resonate with you that could be spiritual. Like, you could be thinking of something or manifesting about something that you just want the day to be a good day and hoping that you see a rainbow. Someone randomly coming up to you and starting a conversation that was just super unexpected. Like, these small little signs are just something from the universe that is telling you to keep fucking going, and knowing that you just have this high vibration that you carry with you wherever you go. So if today was a day where you just needed to hold yourself together, that's all there is to it. You don't have to beat yourself up for a shitty day, because the next day is going to be a new day. So like I said in the beginning of this podcast, you just have to keep showing up for yourself. So let's talk about social media for a second, because I know you guys see all the social media highlights of people living their best life, people traveling around the world, especially during the summertime where people are on vacation, or just having all these expenses on materialistic things, and they post about it. So when you think someone has their life together, they probably don't. I'm going to give you guys an example. It's going to be me. So for those of you who already follow me on social media, I like to make sure that I give you guys inspiration and motivation to move your body. I always say that in my stories, your daily reminder to move your body. But honestly, move your fucking body. I'm always posting something inspirational, and I hope no one takes it the wrong way where, like, damn, she really must have her life together, or like people thinking like, dang, I really wish I had her life. Like, guys, I'm just as messed up as the average human being on this planet. Okay, it may seem like I have my shit together, but I just like to keep my platforms positive. But if there are days where I'm like, okay, I can't lie to people and say that every day is always going to be like the best day ever. It's just a mentality thing as well. But when you have days where you don't want to work out, don't want to do anything, you just want to sit around, watch Netflix, watch YouTube or whatever, that is a choice you're willing to make. And I'm not saying like it's a bad thing, but when it comes to a point where you're doing it every single day and you're not giving yourself the dedication you need, then we got a problem. What I'm trying to say here is, with giving you guys an example of my platforms, is that I'm not going to go out there and then tell you guys, if I'm having a bad day, you're going to have a bad day. Because if I am having a bad day, I can choose to see that and figure out how to turn that around. You think you might be running out of time when we have our whole fucking life to keep growing and keep learning. So this might trigger some of you guys, but let's be honest, we're keeping it real here and there's no faking it, okay? Life is not problematical, we make it problematical. We clutter up our lives with insignificant things that have no value at all. And you truly become a master of your own life when you learn how to control where your attention goes and value what you give your energy and time to. Okay, now I'm just gonna give myself a little water break. And if you guys don't know already, I have an emotional support water bottle that I carry with me everywhere. And it's this cute little pink Zulu water bottle, stainless steel. And it's just the perfect water bottle to bring with you everywhere you go. And no, it's not sponsored, okay? I'm just telling you guys to drink your fucking water. I wish you guys can see the setup right now if you're not watching on YouTube. I got a whole ass fucking setup in my car. My laptop's beside me, my mic's here. I have a blanket on, and I recently just decorated my car. As in my car, I mean me and my boyfriend's car. And the first thing he saw as he drove past by this car, he FaceTimed me immediately and he was like, what's that thing on the steering wheel? And I just laughed hysterically because I'm like, oh, right, he doesn't know. Very feminine energy vibes, okay? Anyways, let's get on with this podcast, and I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice on how to slow down and live a simple life. So what I pretty much was just talking about how I was decorating my car and making it seem like I just feel alive again with just being in my teenage years, this goes on to the advice that I'm about to say. So, sometimes it's just going back to the roots of your childhood or being a child and just living. And I wish, I guess, our generation, if you're a 90s baby, we could all just go back to saying, like, hey, do you want to come play? Like, I wish that term was still valid at this age because it's such a comforting word. When you hear the word play, it's like, what do you want to play? I could go out for a little run in the park or get some ice cream. Like, the term play can be a variation of different things now. Now that you're in adulthood, play can be anything that you want it to be. But it's honestly just about being in the present moment, because wherever you find happiness lies in being present. This is gonna sound very cliche. Everyone fucking says it, but learning how to slow down and live in the present moment would be just reconnecting with nature. Okay, we get it. Go outside, look at the sun, touch some grass. These people who tell you to do those things, go do it. Like, it's the most simplest things in life where this brings you back to being a human being. We're all here because we're supposed to be connecting with nature. And I was actually listening to a podcast from Fernanda Ramirez, and she was saying, like, the color green gives you comfort. There's like healing properties when it comes to just looking at the color green. Just taking it back, like, for example, when I was a little kid, there was no technology for us back at the time where we would have iPads in our backpacks and taking out some type of technology, because that wasn't a thing. It did not exist in our world. There was some little gadgets that would make you be able to listen to music, but that wasn't damaging to our mental health because we weren't staring at a screen. We weren't fucking scrolling. But nowadays, kids living in this generation, that's all you will see. And it just saddens me so much because there's so many things that you guys can be doing out there. And I'm saying you guys as in like maybe kids who are listening to this, but I'm really hoping not. But I mean, like, for the younger viewers, because I'm 25 now, okay? If you're younger than that, do yourself a favor. go outside and play with some chalk. Maybe this is advice that I should say to everyone, because we just need to stop scrolling on our phones, mindlessly scrolling. I'm so tired for us all. I just wish we didn't have to live in such a time where everything is fast paced and we didn't have to worry so much about the world. So one of the main sources that you can use for happiness is by, talking to random strangers. I mean, that's not advice you should maybe take from me, but when you get older, you realize it's kind of invigorating to be talking to new people. It gives you like a sense of hope that people out there are still human and living their best life. So this is what I love, is when I'm able to talk to older people, because they've lived a whole life and they know what they've gone through. They know the exact words to say to the younger generations and how to live a slower life. And from what I can tell you right now, with all these interviews that I see on TikTok about people saying, like, if you had something to say to this world or give advice to, what would you say to them? As in saying it to like the younger generation. And they would just say, just be kind, live in the present moment, be a good person. And that's something that we just have to come into conclusion. So with this advice, all I'm trying to say is, look for the beauty around you and just reconnect with nature. When it comes to slow living, you can make this a practice. And I'm not saying like, how can we live a slow life when we have a 9-to-5 fucking job? Okay. What can you do before your 9-to-5? What can you do after your 9-to-5 job? You can find 10-15 minutes out of your day to take it back with yourself and just appreciating every single thing in your life and appreciating the mundane moments that happen within your life. And one thing we don't realize is that we're always worrying and trying to find happiness. All in all, we end up missing out on happiness altogether. Enjoying little fragments of happiness is all you need. Having those solo singing concerts when you're driving in your car, the feeling of your stomach when you've laughed so hard, the cozy evenings curled up in a blanket and drinking some hot tea, watching YouTube. It's honestly those small moments like that. So another simple advice that I'm going to give you guys, very cliche, but it's practicing mindfulness. And what do I mean by that? Ask yourself, what are you putting your energy into? You just have to be conscious with where you spend your time, because you won't realize that life is just passing by you without even knowing it. And you just have to find happiness in the simple pleasures. So another good one is just being grateful and thankful for everything in your life. I've already mentioned this, but I'm just saying, like, truly be grateful for everything you have in your life, because that's one of the first stepping stones to just being mindful and living a simple life. If you don't have a journal already, have a gratitude journal. You can keep repeating the same things on a piece of paper until it becomes valid, until it becomes believable, where you're actually grateful for these things. I'm thankful for this mic. I'm thankful for this car. I'm thankful for this camera. I'm thankful for my body. I am thankful to be alive here today and being here with you guys. So just to end it off here, I'm going to tell you guys again, you guys need to slow it the fuck down. I'm going to tell myself again, I need to slow it the fuck down and realize, like, I'm on my own pace. I don't have to worry about anyone else's path, because that's their life. It's not mine. Why am I worrying about what other people have to do with their life when I should be focusing on myself? I just want to say that you are capable of anything you set your mind to. And always, 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 always just be proud of the small moments that come into your life that you think may not be a big deal for others, but it's a big deal for you. Appreciate that moment and just be proud of it. That's what's also going to bring you happiness and make you feel more fulfilled. So keep amazing yourself every single fucking day and just go at your own pace. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I hope you guys took something from this, and I'm feeling so good after this podcast episode, because it feels like I'm talking to you guys and realizing, like, I'm not alone in this situation where I feel rushed, because I know for the majority of the listeners or my followers, like, they're gonna feel the same type of way. Like, I'm not the only one that feels rushed in this life, and it's okay. But I'm gonna end it off here. I hope you guys have been loving my podcast so far, and I'm just so excited to see where this takes off, and just being here with you guys and creating a community that is gonna last for a long fucking time. If you love this podcast episode or this podcast in general, please make sure to leave a review. Give it a 5 stars. It would really help the podcast show. And I'm just going to tell you guys again, I have created a podcast account for TikTok and Instagram. So make sure to follow all my platforms, and I will see you guys next week.